Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this video we will learn how to make a different graph in Python. So let's get started. First let's see the dataset in CSV format. So let's check the dataset. So this is the dataset of house prices, and this dataset contains availability, location, size, society, price of houses. So our graph will based on this dataset. So I have copied this dataset in the virtual environment folder. I have created a virtual environment. Then I have created a Jupyter notebook file, graph.ipynb. And if you don't know how to install Jupyter notebook in VS Code, then you can watch my previous video. Let's install these two libraries first, like Seaborn and Matplotlib. We required these two libraries to make different graphs. So let's run this. And then I have imported Matplotlib, Seaborn, and pandas, numpy. Pandas we require to read the CSV file. So let's run this cells one by one. And I have imported the dataset 10 values with the df.head, and we have to check the null values in our dataset because we don't want null values in our dataset. So let's check for the null values. Our dataset contains some null values, so we have to remove those null values by drop NF function, and x is equal to 0 shows that we are dropping the null values from the rows. And now our dataset does not contain any null values. So let's check the shape of the dataset. Like dataset has 372 rows and 9 columns. Let's do something more. And df1 size dot unique shows the unique values in that particular columns. Like area type contains super built up area, plot up area, and built up area, carpet area. So these are the parameters available in area type column. And if we do area type equal to price plot area, then we can extract the plot area values. So we have to check now we will check the information about the columns. So if we run this, then we can check the information about the columns like area type, availability, location contains object data type, and price balcony contains float data type. This is the float data type, and these are some data types that are string values like object. So now we will calculate the sum of the prices according to the area type unique values. We will calculate the sum, then store that sum in the sum number list. So this is what we will do here. So let's store this in this list, and then I will calculate the total of that sum. Then we will calculate the percentage. Percentage is necessary because we will make pie chart between percentage and unique values of area type column. So let's draw our first graph, that is pie chart. So let's draw this graph. So this is how our first graph look like. This is a basic pie chart we have drawn between percentage and my labels. My labels is just the variable. In that variable I have stored the unique values of area type column. So I have mentioned the figure size. We can mention any figure size. If we comment this out, and then our graph looks like this. We can adjust this size according to the requirement, and then plt.py, pi is the pie chart. We can mention the parameters like percentage, like x values, like y values, and then I have mentioned the title of that graph, like price versus area type. I have mentioned the font size. We can decrease or increase the font size. Let's change the font size, so it will reduce the font size. And then I mentioned font weight. Font weight is bold. We can adjust this also. And plt.legends, these are the legend values. Legends make our graph more attractive and readable. If we comment this, then this is how it's look. So legends make our graph more readable. So this is our first graph, and let's check the official documentation of Matplotlib. So we can draw. So this is the documentation of Matplotlib. Here we can see all the necessary requirements and all the things we can do all new things we can do with that graph. So this is the documentation. We must read the documentation when we are plotting any graph. So this is our first graph. Let's add some more parameters in this. So I have mentioned the percentage here in this, the second graph. In the second graph, I have mentioned palette color. Palette color is just the color that shows the graph more brighter. It is with the Seaborn library, and then I have mentioned the percentage here. Like autopicked mention the percentage, so it's look with the percentage values. Now we can add the percentage value in our graph with autopicked. So let's run this also. So this is how our second graph looks like. So this is the pie chart, and let's move into the another graph, which is histogram, and this is the histogram. So SNS.distplot. So distplot is basically a type of histogram. We have to mention here price values. We can only mention numerical values here. So I have mentioned price value and color. We can change the color here. So let's change the color like sky blue. So let's see. This is how our distplot is look like. Like in x-axis we can see the prices, and on y-axis we can see the density. Density is in float values. So let's change the color one more time. So here we can easily change the colors. So this is the dish plot, and the title is the same we have seen in the pie chart and figure size. So let's move into the another graph, and this is another histogram. This is the histogram with bar type structure, and I have drawn this histogram with Matplotlib plt.hist, and then density equal to true, alignment is left, and orientation is vertical. We can manage the orientation also, like we can add horizontal orientation, so it's look like this, but most of the time we consider this as vertical. So let's add vertical, and like in the grid plt.grid, if we comment this out, then this is how it's look. We can add grid lines. Grid line is just horizontal or vertical lines that looks graph more practical and realistic. So this is how our second histogram. So let's move into the another graph. How we can draw bar graph. Bar graph is another common graph. So let's see how to draw this. This is our first bar graph. This is the horizontal bar graph. I have mentioned total square feet on x-axis and y-axis size of the rooms, like area size. So let's see how to draw this. I have mentioned plt dot bar h. Bar h is for horizontal bar graph, and then on y-axis I have mentioned the size, and on x-axis total square feet area. Then the height of this bars. Height is basically the width of these bars. If we change this, then the width will change. So yeah, this is the another parameters we can add, and then the colors and the rest things is the same. Rest things are the same things as we see in the earlier graph. So this is a horizontal bar graph. As we can see, this is how it's look. And let's move into the vertical bar graph. This is the vertical bar graph. We draw most of the time. We uses both the graph on different purpose. So let's see how to draw this. Plt dot bar. Bar is for vertical bar graph, and bar h is for horizontal bar graph. So this is the bar graph, and here we mention width. Width is for basically the width of these bars. In the horizontal bar graph we mention height, in vertical bar graph we mention width. This is a vertical bar graph, so let's run this. This is vertical bar graph, and let's move into the other type of bar graph. And this is another bar graph with multiple columns, multiple bars. I have mentioned two colors bar here. One is for green and other for red. I have mentioned red for area and size for green. So let's see how we can draw this. I have mentioned plt dot subplots. With the help of subplot we can draw multiple graph in a single page. This is a very helpful tool to draw multiple graph in a single page. And then I mentioned the two graph. Here I mentioned two graph with a different color size and color age and label. This is the labels. Labels is just like the same as legends. So I have mentioned this. So this is a multicolor bar type bar graph. So we can draw this also. Then let's move to the another graph. This is the line plot. Line plot is another common graph, and this is how it's look like. It is between price and numbers. So let's learn how to draw this. I have mentioned y point as a price. I have taken only 15 values from the top. Then I have mentioned subplots because we are drawing two graph here. Then plt dot plot is used to make. So I have drawn between y points, and we have to mention only one point here, like y points and color equal to r shows the red color, and the line width, we can change the line width from here. Then I had drawn another graph with y points line style. Here we can also mention the line plot line style also. By line style is dotted means we can draw a dotted line plots. This is how it's look. And then line width is the same. Then title and legend, we can also mention legend here. So this is about line plots. We can add more parameters by reading the official documentation of Matplotlib. So this is about line plot, and here is another line plot with higher width. As we increase the width, this is how it's look. This is how it's look when we increase the width. So let's move to the another graph, which is a scatter plot. Scatter plot is best example when we saw different graph. So this is the scatter plot I had drawn between price and balcony, and color is blue and line width is 3. So this is how a scatter plot looks like. I have mentioned the price on x-axis and balcony, but we can see the scatter plot is not looking well. So let's try to draw this on another data set. So I will use iris dataset for this purpose. Iris is a famous dataset in sklearn. So let's use this dataset to draw this graph. So we have to just make a data frame, like data frame. This is how a data frame looks like. We can make a data frame with pandas. So this is how a data frame looks like. And let's draw the scatter plot between sepal length and sepal width. I will use Seaborn to draw this because Seaborn provides better visualization and better graph. So I will use Seaborn for this, and I have mentioned the data, and x-axis is sepal length and y-axis is sepal width, and then hue equal to target. And this is the target, and we can mention the categories in the hues value. So for palette equal to deep, palette is just the colors, and s equal to 60. S equal to 60, the size of the scatter dots. Then I have mentioned title and legends. So this is our scatter plots look like, and this is showing the categories of different targets, like 0 for blue and orange for 1 and 2 for green. So this is the scatter plot. We can add more parameters by reading the documentation. So this is the scatter plot. So let's see how to draw subplots. Subplot is very important step while making graph, because we are drawing all these graph in a single page. So let's see how to do this. So first I have mentioned the dish plot, like histogram, hist plot. Then I have mentioned count plot. Count plot is like bar graph. And then I have mentioned scatter plot, then another count plot, then pie chart, then line plot. So let's see the graph. This is how our graph looks like first is our histogram, and then bar graph, then a scatter plot, and then another bar graph with different columns. Then the pie chart. This is the pie chart with Seaborn library. We have drawn this earlier with Matplotlib. This is the pie chart with Seaborn, and this is another line graph. So this is the subplots. We have mentioned the sizes already. We have mentioned the sizes of this graph, and we can change the parameters also. So this is how the graph looks like, and we can also download these from here. We can save these graph pictures in our system. So this is how it's look like. This is from the video, guys. If you learn something new from this video, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.